And we're live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How is
Hi.
everyone? Welcome to the live show for Viva Liars, which has been pending for a long time. But we are finally here, and such an exciting live show. We can't even begin to tell you, although we already have, but it's kind of a thing. So, yeah, first of all, wishing a very happy birthday to Shaurya and Pratyusha. So
Happy birthday,
Happy
girl!
birthday. Happy
I hope this
birthday.
makes your birthday a little better. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoy this live show,
Yeah.
and yeah, just keep watching, keep what do you call it? Keep participating, and you have a great live show coming up,
Yes.
and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for spending some time on your birthday to hang out with us.
exactly,
I mean,
yes,
that
Right.
makes all of us feel so good that you would choose to hang out with us on your birthday. So thank you
yes,
for coming here and hanging out with us.
yes.
Hi,
Hello
everyone.
everyone
Hi.
who is
Hello, everyone.
joining. Yes, Happy New Year also. It's the first Bookbound Club live show of
How did we
2022.
forget that? Yes, we are so we are so involved. Ki the Viva Liars live show is finally happening that we
Yeah,
completely forgot कि ये नया साल है. Like this is
Plus, like
we
20
forgot.
days are done. Now it doesn't
Yeah,
feel new anymore. We're just like, how okay.
exactly.
Before you know
Exactly.
it,
the
22 is
same
also
old.
done.
I swear.
Oh God,
The way
yeah.
2021 just flew by, I feel like before we know it, it'll be 2023.
That's
Sad.
exactly what's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff planned, at least for the next live show, for the next book club discussion. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we
So,
can hear you.
first is that we are going to be having a discussion about Viva Liars. Okay. The second point is that the giveaway prize for today's quiz and for today's live show will be the book club pick for the next live show. So you've
Drum
got to stay tuned for
roll.
that, and you already yes, yes, you've got to stay tuned for that because it's going to be super exciting. And the book club picks as well as the giveaway prizes are yes, drum roll please. I'm doing it myself. And Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. It's
Woohoo!
going to
Yes!
be superb. We cannot even tell you how excited we are. Like we have a perpetual smile on our face. Like it's
At
super
least
exciting because now we're
Sonali
going
and
to get
I
to
are.
discuss.
Yeah, Sonali
Yes.
and I are, and I feel like we have been driving Meera a bit crazy because that is all we talk
Mira,
about.
read it.
Like the hype. Oh my god. Like, even if I hadn't known about the book from Instagram, this would have been enough. Like, just
Yeah,
this.
But you know it's real because
Yeah.
you've seen another person read it and they've
yes,
also been like hyping it up.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
it's about time, maybe, to
exactly.
actually pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so what Sonali
So,
and I have done is that we have not only peer pressured Meera into reading the Six of Crows duology, but we have also demanded that she film her reactions and
And
do a
that
you
I
beauty
have a
shall.
vlog.
great,
We are very demanding friends. I'm sorry.
yes. We're
So
we're not
1 hour
sorry
vlog
actually.
coming
We
up
are not
next month.
sorry. But Mira detailed, please.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Yes,
not
done.
like
full details,
very detailed.
full
Maybe 1 hour
reactions.
We
vlog
don't
for sure.
vlogs. And we
Okay,
Yes.
don't mind
vlogs.
if you call us at any time of the day also, day or
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Done, done.
We will be like always, yeah, six of you just call us and say Six of Crows and we'll be like, yes, Mira, what do you want?
Okay. So for the month of Feb, what I'm gonna do is I'll have like a running Google Meet link for all of us, and then I'm just gonna ping you and be like, guys,
Yeah.
join now. I have to say something. And then we'll record all of that and put it in my vlog. That will be
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
yes, 100% up for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So today's book, segueing very smoothly, today's book is something that I read for the first time, but Shruti and Meera, it was a reread for them, and they loved it even the second time around. So, before we start the discussion, I'm going to move on to Shruti, who will tell you, for those of you who don't know what the book is about, who will tell you what We Were Liars by E. Lockhart is all about. Over to you, Shruti.
Yes. Okay, so this book is actually it's a bit difficult to describe. Firstly, because I honestly feel that the best way to like go into this book is by not knowing anything about it. Like if you go in completely like blind without any like you just know that it's a young adult book and that's it. That's like the best experience I feel that you can have with this book. But just to give like a small gist of what this book is about is that it's about um a very like old American family. So there's like the grandfather, the grandmother, they have three daughters, and then those three daughters have like their kids, and they're a very privileged old American family that are very proud of their heritage, and they're extremely
White.
rich. They're white and they're rich, so think like gossip girl level rich people. They have like mansions
Nice.
in various cities in the US, and they own a private island. So the story is set around a few summers that this family, along with like some of their friends and whoever, when they visit that private island, and what happens on those like in during those summers on that island. So the thing that like I really liked about this book, and I think also that Meera liked about it because we've spoken about it, is that it's very very like atmospheric, and it's very lyrical, and it's very poetic the way E. Lockhart has written about like this beach island setting, about these characters. She uses a lot of metaphors. She uses very poetic like language when she's writing about this extremely beautiful family. And I feel that adds to the narrative also because there is a certain amount of mystery involved because the main narrator, like the protagonist of this book is Cadence, and she is kind of like an unreliable narrator because there are things about her life that she can't remember, and that also adds a very mysterious aspect to this book. And that's all I'm going to say. That's it. It's a beautifully written book. It has a mysterious aspect to it. The characters, while not like the best people, they're still very very interesting to read about, and it's just an atmospheric, lyrical, beautiful book. So if you haven't read it, what have you done? We've given you so much time to read this book. So please go and read We Were Liars, and then you can
Yes.
come back and rewatch this live discussion
And
if you haven't.
halfway through, if you think that no, I don't want to go forward with this, please stick with the story. Stick with it.
Yeah,
You stay for the rest of the discussion because there's going to be a lot of talk about how the book is structured and how it's written and why it was necessary to be written like that. But if you feel like you want to give up on it, don't give up on
yeah,
it because it's going to be absolutely worth it. So
yeah,
that's like point number one over there. Okay.
yeah. Correct.
Okay.
So
So,
yeah. So, okay. So, Sonali, I wanted to ask you, since this was the first time that you read the book, I mean, Meera and I, this was our second time that we read it. But since this was the first time that you read it, like just spoiler free overall thoughts, what did you think about this book? How was your like first experience with it?
honestly, I went through a range of emotions, okay? Because when I started reading the book, why I gave that disclaimer earlier, why I was telling people to stick with it, is because I went through the exact same thing. Because about like 50, 60 pages in, I felt that the writing was a little fractured, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that the author also goes through, she talks about in this book. It's not just about what that family is like and what they're trying to do. but there's also a lot of background stuff also, which we'll probably
Hmm.
discuss in the spoiler fill section. But as we went through, my first reaction, like when we get to that point, right? Mira was asking me on the Instagram update post that I made, and I was like, and Mira asked, Ki, what exactly happened, Sonali, that made you think like that? Okay, and I'll show
Yeah.
you the note that I wrote down post-it notes and I stuck it over there. And this was my reaction. I'll show you it. I went for a long time. Like I couldn't move because that was where everything actually finally came together. Everything started to make sense. So it was at that point that I thought, ki, yeah, I see what the hype is about. I see what y'all have been talking about. So overall, the experience is like you go through a range of it. Like you start off, like me personally at least, I started off not liking the book or not liking the writing that much. Like we've already discussed, there are some characters that you don't like, you just
Hmm.
end up not liking. But when you read the whole thing, I was just gobsmacked, like mind blown. And that is what I think makes this such a good book, because in just about 200 uh, something pages, she managed to bring up so many things in this. Like she's not just talking about one topic, she's covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was me rambling about this book, about my thoughts about this book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your experience, like rereading the book? Did you like it better than the first time around, or did you like see certain things that made you like it a little bit less? What were your thoughts, Mira?
Yeah, Mira, maybe you can go first.
So for me, I remember the first time I read it, which was years ago. It meant so much to me, especially because of the way these four teenage characters, how their journeys have been crafted, and the reason because of which their storylines end on that note, right? On the way the story wraps up, it meant a lot to me then, and I remember the book having a lot of impact. So this time when I was starting to reread it, I kept wondering whether the same teenage characters, their stories being told through these voices that the author had created, would it still matter as much? I was a little skeptical. I knew that the ending would still have like a proper impact on me, but I was like, wait, would I enjoy the journey of getting to know Cadence and Mirren and all of them? And surprisingly, I did. This time, even though there were instances where I pointed out like things that could have been different, or maybe certain character nuances which I wanted to have been written in a better manner, to maybe not sugarcoat it, but maybe a
Hmm.
little bit more poised. But I feel like I
Yeah.
still loved the way it is written. For me, the writing style and the underlying message that it carries is still the best part about this book. And like we're discussing, it's one book that you cannot predict. Like no matter what you think
That's
about
true.
it going into it, it will take you on its own journey. Like this is a book
Yeah.
that will guide you no matter what you think about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
For me, also, I read it in 2016, I think, the first time. So it had been quite like, it had been how many
A
years?
gap.
5 years, 5, 6 years, whatever, since I had read it. And honestly, I didn't remember a lot about like the actual story of the book, but I remember how it made me feel. I just remember like my emotions while reading the book in 2016, and those emotions, it was the same for me, Mira. I was just like really impacted by, I mean, yeah, like how the story wraps up, basically. And that's the only emotion I remembered. I remembered going into it. And even I thought, like, okay, you know what? Now that I know, like, what the story is, am I really going to like it the second time? And I
Hmm.
just felt myself discovering new things about the story that, like, either I had forgotten or I didn't really pay attention to the first time. And that for me was like very exciting. Like I was like, oh, 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 like in every,
Yes.
and I read it in like 1.5 days. Like I just could not put it down once I started reading it. And like yes, I also agree with you that this time around I noticed a lot of like flaws in character development. I felt like there were some things which I felt could have been done much better, which we will get into later on. I have a lot to rant about one character in particular, but um, but
I'm
yeah,
so looking
overall,
forward to
it
it.
was still, but overall, I still felt the same. I still cried like at the end when I was reading it. It still gave me those same emotions that I felt the first time reading it, and I also
Hmm.
love E. Lockhart, the way she's written this book in particular. Like I love the
Yeah.
metaphors, and I love
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like some chapters are like poems. Like she's written it like poems, and
Correct.
I love that. I love the way that she's written those chapters.
Hmm.
Kind of
It's a
like
non-linear
Aristotle and Dante also, like those like short sentences,
short chapter.
like
I
short
like that.
sentences. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the way Aristotle and Dante has been written,
In my
which
experience, no, even some authors who tend to write stories in a very disjointed or like very crisp and abrupt manner, some of them still have the like the ability, the talent, and the skill to create a rhythm from that itself. So it doesn't feel
yeah,
very
Hmm.
like disturbing or
yeah,
jarring.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Hmm.
Yeah, and about what you were saying about rereading and finding new things, I think that happens with almost every book that you reread. Like, even if there's a
Yeah,
gap,
true,
if there's
true,
no gap, but you
true.
tend to pick up on the nuances. Like, if you
Correct,
are reading anybody, for example, we'll be rereading Six of Crows now. I'm damn
correct.
sure that there will be
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
things
yeah.
that we will pick up on. Like you,
Correct.
both of you have reread We Were Liars, but
Yeah,
I think the first time around when you read it, you are focusing more on the bigger plot line. You
correct,
you are focusing
correct.
on what is most obvious of the plot
Evident.
of the characters,
Yeah, yeah.
evident, yeah, the evidence. But the second time around, you are like you know what's happening in the bigger picture. So your
Yeah.
mind, I think, it automatically goes to these smaller details, and
Yeah,
that's happened. I think with a couple. I mean, that almost always happens because a book is not just like one dimensional. There's going to be
correct.
a
Right.
lot of details behind it. So yeah,
Yeah,
I totally get what you were saying about rereads.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
understandable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's look at some comments.
yes.
Um, Also, like, I don't understand how people can have square-shaped chins. Just
I don't
like
know.
people can have oval chins. Sure, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, when I
or
read that,
heart
it
shaped.
Like,
sounded quite weird, but
No,
it's
it's like,
exactly like it exactly captures that aristocratic face
yes,
some
yes,
people
yes.
have, right?
that jawline that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it.
To me, I just, I remember him. Like when you say square shaped chin.
That's like he's like a prototype of the square-shaped chin, but a
Yeah.
very sweet prototype, if you can
Yes.
say.
Yeah. Exactly. Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I did
I
give you
like,
24 hours to read
yeah,
it. How did
I was just like, yeah, people who've still not read it. I mean, like, come on. This thing
it
got
was
delayed
there?
by a month,
It it was
and
right
you
there.
had a 24-hour readathon. So it's all on you for not reading this
Yeah,
book.
amazingly
Have you
narrated
ever,
thriller.
yeah. Yeah. I actually also
Agreed.
really like non-linear narration. I find it super
Elaka tends to do
interesting.
that a lot. I've even
Yeah.
read her
Yeah.
other book, Genuine Frauds, and that's very well written too. Like in terms of
Okay.
how
Yeah.
she builds up the story and the
Hmm.
developments that happen.
Yeah. I think
Nice.
she uses the non-linear as well as what is I
Unreliable.
just said it. Huh, unreliable
Unreliable
narrator.
narrator.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Got you.
I was like, I just said the word.
समझ आ गया. Like, I'm not usually a huge fan of non-linear narratives because I get whiplash trying to decide ki, where exactly is this happening. So
Yeah.
this one was a book that like I mentioned, there was one, like, there were certain things that I did not like towards the beginning of the book. This
Hmm.
was one of them because I felt like the explanations, if you could call it descriptions, they felt a little stunted. But towards the end, when she brings it all together, it sort of made up for it. So
Yeah.
that ended up being a positive. It started out as a negative, but ended up being a positive. So
Hmm.
yeah, Srishti.
Oh
Sorry, Auntie.
no. I know.
Found the it's
Passionate
non-linear tends to
letter
do
to
that sometimes.
them. Yeah. Yeah, non-linear does, and of course, yeah, it is quite poetic, the language, so it
Hmm.
takes getting used to,
Correct.
for sure. Yes, same.
Within a day.
Even I finished it in a day. I just could not put it down.
Uh, oh, let's not go there now. There's one particular
Hmm.
comment which I wanted to show, but um, okay. Shruti, you and I are soulmates apparently.
I think we're established.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh.
anything else that you would like to add? Like I think I pretty much I can't say anything else without spoiling it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I'm just like waiting to like start
Just
talking
one more
spoilers.
thing. We could do
I just
one
want
more
to.
thing in the non-spoiler thing. We can all just pick favorite and least favorite characters and leave it at that.
Okay. No
ooh,
explanation, right?
No explanation.
Okay.
no, if you give explanation, then it's going to be like,
Yeah, then
yeah,
I'll go into
um,
spoilers. That's the problem. Okay. Favorite
no
character?
explanation.
Favorite character, Mirren. Least favorite character. Um, that's hard. I have two, like least favorite.
Give two.
Harris, Sinclair, and Gat.
Whoa,
Yes.
I won't ask
Gat is,
why because we
yeah,
are not
because
going
Gat
there.
is the character I want to rant about.
Oh,
So, yeah.
this I want to know.
Hmm.
Hmm. Mine is Harris, least favorite. I mean,
Hmm.
Harris and her mom.
Hmm.
Favorite is who is that fourth cousin, dude?
Taft.
What is his name?
Who?
The guy. Oh shit,
Taft
I
is the
forgot.
kid
Taft is the
cousin.
kid. Yeah.
Will.
Yeah, not
Johnny.
him.
Johnny.
Johnny. Like he was like comparatively bearable when compared to
Oh,
the rest.
yeah.
Let's end it at that for now.
Yeah.
Mira, you? Who's your favorite and least favorite character?
Least
Oh,
favorite Penny. And the one I liked best of all, Gat.
Oh, we have opposite opinions.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we since we are not doing explanations anymore, I think
Yeah.
it's time for us to move on to the spoiler-filled discussions. So, guys, if you haven't read the book, then I think you can join back in about an hour because there's going to be a giveaway quiz in which you can also participate if you haven't read the books. So
Yes.
make sure to join back later if you haven't read the book, if
Yeah.
you don't like spoilers. But if you
Yeah.
like spoilers, if you don't have a problem with them, just please stay on. We're going to have a long discussion, I think, about
Yeah.
this book. So
Yes.
yeah, stay on.
Yeah.
And remember that the giveaway prize for this is the Six of Crows duology. Two of you will be getting both the books. So that's, I think, a huge incentive. Okay.
Yeah.
No, they will see,
Shaurya,
Shaurya.
your
Don't
notes
worry.
will be okay. So,
Don't
so
worry.
the giveaway, yeah, don't worry. The giveaway
Don't
quiz,
worry. It's a mix.
Yeah, the giveaway
Yeah.
So
quiz
like we'll
will.
explain. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. The people who have read the book, you do have a slight advantage in the
Advantage.
giveaway quiz. You will have that advantage. But
Yes.
if you haven't read the book, we also have a mix of questions which are general.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But it's going to be fun either way. So make sure
Correct.
you join in.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Even if you
yeah,
haven't
we'll
read this book.
yes. So you stand a chance to win.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
come back and join. Okay. Okay. So this is the
Cool.
point where I'm reminding you again ki the next part is going to be completely spoiler filled. So if you hate spoilers like us, then come back later. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So should we move on to the
Yes.
next to the spoiler? Like so excited we are, no?
The part where everyone's been waiting for. Like
Exactly.
Waiting for
they're like, can't wait to discuss, can't wait to
exactly.
discuss.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, me too.
Finally spoilers. I think this is
Yeah.
the first time. I mean, this would be the first time ever when we say, "Oh, thank God, spoilers."
Yeah.
Traditionally, we never say
Because there's
that
nothing
ever.
else. You cannot discuss this book without spoilers, which are very, very
Correct.
like important to
Crucial,
the plot.
important.
Like you cannot
Yes.
discuss this book otherwise. It's just impossible.
Okay. 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 So, first up, the first huge discussion point, obviously, is that ending. Okay. I think we've spoken about spoiler free. We've spoken spoiler free about how that ending, we reacted to that ending. But now it's time to talk about the spoiler filled section of it. Both times, both of you reread the book. Were you expecting it the first time around? Like, did you see that coming?
No.
Did you?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I did not expect that they were dead. Like we can say, now it's all spoilers. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I did not expect
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that Gat, Mirren, and Johnny were not there. And the second time when I read it now, I just feel like how stupid was I? Because like it was quite obvious that they were dead.
Really? I
Like,
didn't think about
yeah.
that.
A
It was not like
little, if
obvious,
you looking,
obvious. It
Huh.
wasn't
yeah.
like obvious in your face obvious, but like the second time I was reading it, the main thing that I saw
Hmm.
was that like in all the previous summers, so like when she's talking about summer 12, 13, 14, whatever, like before
Mm-hmm.
summer 15,
Hmm.
Yeah.
there is always like
Hmm.
interaction at least between granddad and Johnny, granddad and Mirren, and she talks about it. Like Cadence talks about those interactions between the aunts and the liars, and between the cousins and the liars. And then you read summer 17 and there is no interaction between the liars and anyone else apart from Cadence.
Cadence.
And even when like Penny says that, oh, you're spending your entire time at Cuddle Down, or like the aunts, like no, like there is
Hmm.
no mention from anyone else about like, oh, why isn't like whoever, like why aren't the
Mm-hmm.
other people, other teens coming for supper? Why aren't they
Mm-hmm.
coming for this? Or like I don't know. Like there was absolutely no mention, and that it just didn't strike me the first time I read it. Like I just like I was like, okay, huh, whatever. They are independent teenagers. Nobody cares. Like the first time I read it, but now I'm
Exactly.
like, how dumb. Like I didn't question this or what, and nobody is like mentioning the others or like talking about them. So yeah,
But you know what?
yeah,
That is, I think, you know, uh, you can see how well E. Lockhart has written it, that she
yeah,
doesn't make you question what she's writing. Like, you
exactly,
can see it towards the end.
exactly,
You can
yeah,
see these signs were there towards the end, but then again, teenagers are such people. Like, they want
correct,
privacy, they
Mm,
correct.
want to stay with themselves, so you don't question it when they don't appear and they don't talk to the adults or something like
Correct.
yeah.
that. So when Katie is talking about her interactions with them, and there's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
no mention of a conversation between the teens and the adults, but like, अच्छा ठीक
Yeah.
है, ये
Yeah.
this is like
हो
The
सकता है.
gateway.
possible. हाँ
Yeah.
हो सकता है. It's like,
Yeah.
uh, but
Correct.
but Lockhart put like Easter eggs everywhere. Like
Yes.
you, in
Yes.
hindsight, they're very obvious.
So
In
that
Yeah.
for
hindsight, they're
me it
very
was,
obvious.
yeah, for me it was in
Reread, yes,
hindsight. No. So I
yes,
was like,
yes,
Arre, why
exactly,
didn't I pick up? Why didn't I pick up on
exactly.
this the first time?
Yeah, yeah. Like
So
that's like genius writing,
yeah,
for sure. But
correct.
yeah, Mira, your thoughts? Like, did you see that coming the first time around? How was your experience reading? How was your experience rereading the book after all of this, knowing what happens in the end?
The first time I was devastated because obviously I didn't see it coming. So my
Yeah,
reaction was entirely different. And I just went on this different tangent of thinking, like, why did it have to be this extreme? Like, just for one
Yeah.
purpose that all these four shared and something they wanted to do differently in the world. I understand, like,
hmm.
in some stories meanings and morals and things like that get conveyed with very extreme endings, so
Hmm.
that way I could understand why the ending had been written like this. The second
Hmm.
time around, even though I went in knowing that this was the ending, it still felt so tragic and sad. Like, you can't
Yeah.
escape the sense that it's just they're four teenagers, like they
Yeah,
Yeah.
are leading a life where it's all about youth and innocence, and yet because of the environment that they're raised in, they get embroiled
hmm.
into such bigger themes and such bigger fights and battles in life, right? Like, even
Correct.
Yeah.
the three mothers, like the way they're raising their children, those three mothers themselves are very bitter and constantly fighting. Yet
Yeah.
seeing all of that, seeing how their grandfather is, knowing that Katie
Hmm.
can't love a boy she truly loves just because her family will never accept them, that
Yeah.
ending
Correct.
still just feels so sad.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
punch to the gut.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But like, okay, so yeah, for me also, I felt like the consequences of their actions were very tragic, and like, did it have to be that tragic? But on the other hand, I was happy that there were consequences. It didn't have to be this extreme, because
Yeah.
it really,
Yeah,
like, yeah, even I was absolutely devastated the first time I read it. But there are a lot of authors that don't even have consequences to
Yeah.
really
yeah,
shitty actions that you take.
Hmm.
correct.
Whereas here, at least, okay, it's a really horrible horrible consequence,
Consequence,
but
but
there was a consequence, which is what I liked this time around reading it. I felt like,
no, that's
so
right. Because more often than not, the authors, what they try to do is they try to make it into some sort of a poetic ending, or they try to
correct,
leave it open ended, saying that these
Yeah.
are teenagers and they
correct,
don't have much of a life experience to understand what they're doing. So
correct.
they try to mold it in that way. But I feel like this is one in which, like you said, the consequences happened, and I'm hoping she learned, because after that ending, it's like
Yeah,
I
Exactly.
was
And
in
exactly.
denial. I was in denial the whole time. Like when I read it and when I realized it, like I showed you in the non-spoiler section, right? I was just staring at the book, at the page, and I didn't want to. It took me a while to move forward, because consequences, and then there are consequences.
Yes. Yeah.
The the immensity of this consequence is
Yeah.
will either traumatize her, because
Yeah.
she's already traumatized because of the
Yeah.
accident. But
Yeah.
imagine when they've been trying to protect her from
Yeah.
all of this, and then when
Yeah.
she realized that, imagine the effect that that's going to have to live with the
Correct.
consequence as well as with the guilt. So
Correct.
that shakes you up a bit, a lot, not a bit.
yeah.
So it's a
No,
lot.
and like,
Yeah,
speaking about, like, the immensity or whatever of consequences, what I really like is, first, like, the first thing that hits her is about the dogs, like, that the dogs
yeah,
died in the fire,
yes,
and she cannot take it. Like, she just, like, she collapses. She doesn't even
yes,
know, like, what is beyond the dogs dying, and that just, like, broke me this time when I was reading it. I'm just like, oh my god, because like this time I knew
yeah,
what the other thing was. So like, I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dog's dying itself, I was crying. I was crying my eyes out. But then, like, I was like, oh my God, she doesn't know. She doesn't know yet. Like,
Yeah,
what is coming beyond just the dogs dying.
yeah.
So,
It all comes together, doesn't it? Like when you're
yeah,
reading it again.
yeah. And like we were
exactly.
talking, the fact that
Hmm.
this novel works, even for people who don't particularly enjoy YA, is because of
Hmm.
the message it conveys, right? Like, if the ending hadn't been this tragic, then it would have
Yeah,
been a
Hmm.
whole other case of glorifying things that teenagers do and like getting away
Correct.
with
exactly.
it. Readers would have taken something
Exactly.
else away from the novel instead of like
Correct.
how things can turn out to be if we don't think through our actions, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. Uh,
Oh,
should we
it's
go
a
through
lot. Okay.
some comments? There were a lot of comments.
Yeah. Desperately waiting for you got it. I saw it coming before it actually came. Oh,
Oh, nice, Nikita. You're here. The title was a dead giveaway. It's we were. Oh, right, right.
smart. Like, yes.
Smart. Yeah,
Very smart. Yes.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, Priyadarshini, we'll
this
talk
makes
about
sense.
that. Sorry, sorry. No, Priyadarshini says that, but Taft says Mirren read me a story last night and the aunt asks about Johnny. I was a bit confused. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. We'll speak about this.
Upcoming.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what, Shaurya? This I feel like it's personal opinion that when something this traumatic happens, amnesia is a thing. Like you don't know the extent to which your memory can betray you.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
And
maybe it was not stupidity, and it was just not in her control or in her power to actually bring back that memory. It was a huge thing that happened, a
Hmm.
tragedy in
mm,
itself. So I don't think it was stupidity as much as the after effects of trauma.
yeah, yeah.
Correct.
And everyone
What do you
takes
both
to
think
incidents
of
in
this?
their life differently, right? Like,
Correct.
it's all about their coping mechanism. So,
Exactly.
first of all, she did hurt her head,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
secondly, that itself was sort of like a
Yes.
like the shift from there in how her brain started coping with not just the injury that it had to heal, but also the incident that like she was emotionally
Hmm.
trying to cope with.
Correct.
Hmm.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, and
So,
also the medication, like Anne said later, like she was also
yeah,
taking medication, so that can also have
which was like
an
completely
effect
screwing
on the
with
brain.
her.
Hampering with her
With her
mind.
mind,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Same Ishita.
yeah. Same. I cried so much when she realizes. Wait,
Um,
Shaurya's asking, we didn't get to know how she hurt her head. They did explain it. They said that the fumes from the fire basically
yeah, mess
that
with her mind,
injured, yeah, that injured her brain.
brain processes. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the noxious fumes of the fire. That's what went
Hmm.
and like did something to her head. So she didn't hit her head like they were telling her what happened like in the accident. I don't think she actually
Hmm.
hit her head. It was the inhaling the poisonous
Fumes.
fumes from the fire.
Are you sure though? Because I remember even I think towards the end reading a scene wherein she gets into the water because of that, and like she's trying to get away from the fire and everything that's going on, and when she gets into the water is when she like goes under and hits her head.
Oh, is it?
No?
That I don't think I specifically read
Okay,
that.
Priyadarshini
I'm not
says no,
sure.
she didn't.
Yeah, that's what. She didn't hit her head. That's
And
what
so
even I
clear. Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
That's what even I
Because
remembered. It was the
I
inhaling
remember
of
thinking.
the fumes that
Yeah,
causes
I remember
her
thinking at the
brain
beginning
thing.
that when she's pulled out of the water, I thought, okay, she was in the water. She might have hit her head at a rock, but nowhere after is it described in a way that that actually happened. Like Priyadarshini said, scans were clear, and there's no mention of like physical trauma to the head
Yeah,
anywhere.
correct. Correct. That's
No.
so she didn't hit her
So
head is
she didn't. Like you mentioned, it's like because of the fumes from the
yeah.
fire. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think she also got into the water because she was burnt. So maybe she just got into the water because like she had those burns all over her.
Burns and
Because
all.
she
She
said that
wanted to
she was
cool
in the
them
water
down.
and she wasn't wearing any clothes. So maybe it was just like in her state of panic, she took off all her clothes because like she was burnt. And I think that's why she went into the water, basically, because she had all those
Possible. Yeah.
burns. So
Makes sense. Hmm.
yeah. There
Okay.
was one question which Anne asked, which I think we can discuss now, since one thing I didn't
Hmm.
understand was whether they were ghosts or hallucination.
That brings us to the next question, actually. The
Yeah,
next discussion point that we had,
yeah,
that we were planning to talk
yeah,
about, is that, like you said, Shruti, that in your first, reading of the book, the liars were sort
yeah,
of a figment of Carrie's imagination and
yeah,
all. But
yeah.
in your second reread, you think that they might have been ghosts.
Yes. That is okay. So I
Yeah.
read said that the author actually confirmed that they were ghosts. Author says they are ghosts in the
Did
deluxe
she?
edition. Yeah, I just read a comment.
Yeah.
Priyadarshini said, author says
Oh,
that they are
this.
ghosts in the deluxe edition. But okay, so I didn't know this. I didn't know that E. Lockhart herself had said that they were ghosts. But okay, for the first time when I read it, I actually thought that it was just her hallucinating, and nobody else can see them.
Hmm.
Uh, and like I mean, so okay, so when the whole revelation happened that they are dead, then like
Hmm.
the first time I read it, I kind of went back to see, like, like, are there like, were there clues that whatever, like, that they didn't exist, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that time I thought that, oh, maybe she was just hallucinating this whole time, and that's why like nobody else interacts with them, and that's why she has created this like world where they don't attend suppers, they don't meet anyone else, and that is just her imagination and her whatever. But this time around there were two things. Someone mentioned that also, about like Taft saying that Mirren read him a
Hmm.
story. So
Mm.
Correct.
that and like before he says that, he says, I cannot sleep because Cuddle Down is haunted. He says that.
Mm.
And then he says that Mirren read me a story. So I feel that that's what made me think, oh, maybe it's not that they are her imagination, but they are ghosts. There's also that whole thing where they cannot leave the island. Like every time they leave the island, like when Mirren gets on the boat to go to that other place, she
She
starts
gets
feeling
headache.
sick. She
Yeah.
gets
Yes.
headaches or whatever. So is it that ghosts have a certain boundary that they cannot cross? They have to stay at the place where they died because that's their haunting territory. I don't know. That's another thing I thought this time when I read it. And then the third one was also the aunt like sleepwalking at night and saying like,
Yeah.
can you hear Johnny, can you hear Johnny, like where is Johnny? And
Yeah.
that also makes me feel that maybe Johnny does visit her, like his ghost
Hmm.
actually does visit her, and whatever, like I mean, so these instances made me feel like, okay, no, that's not a figment of their imagination, they are actually, their ghosts are there on that island.
That this makes it, like Nikita said, यहाँ पे, a
Yeah.
Yeah.
whole new level of creepiness.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I
I'm
hadn't
just
been
getting
thinking like this
goosebumps.
at all.
Yeah.
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 Holy.
They
We
were
promised
ghosts
you
this
exciting.
entire time. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
getting exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
Correct. Yeah, exactly, Ishita. Oh, wait. Sorry. We'll see this first. Now, when I see that, when Katie said to Johnny about the Lego, and he says that he has given them to Will, and previous night Katie saw Karen,
cat.
Karen walking. in
Who's
the
Yeah,
that
yeah.
again?
Carrie, I
Carrie.
think
Okay, Carrie, Carrie.
Carrie,
Yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah,
in
yeah,
the night, and Will was crying, which she ignored. Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Cuddle Down was like messed up. Correct. That was the other thing. They actually did mess up Cuddle Down, and I like Katie herself can't do that just by herself. Like, how much can she mess
yeah.
up an entire house?
House, yes.
Mm.
So
Oh
yeah.
God.
What did you think, Sonali, when you read it? Did you think ghosts or did you think hallucination?
I did not think ghost, and I did not think hallucination. Also, I'll tell you why. Because it it's like I'm very accepting of what an author is saying until they give a particular reasoning for it. Okay,
Hmm.
so when I'm reading and I'm saying that, because those particular teenagers, they have their issues with the adults. Like Gat has an issue with Harris,
Yeah.
and Mirren and Johnny, it's their own thing. Like, just because I was of the thinking that just because Mirren and Johnny aren't seen in any other settings, that does not mean they're not there. It's like selective storytelling
Right.
of thoughts. So I was
Okay.
like, okay, there must be a reason for them not being at supper time, or them not wanting to come down at supper time. Like we mentioned
Right.
before, like we've talked about before,
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
teenagers.
yeah.
So sometimes you can't explain what's going on in their heads. So they
Right.
need their privacy. So I was like, okay,
Right.
there must be an explanation, but I did not think that this would be that explanation.
But
If
then why
they
did you
don't
think but then what did you think when you realized that they're dead? That what were they?
ghosts, like at
Oh,
that
that you
point,
thought,
I was like,
okay.
oh, because
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So
So
then you thought it was
okay, so this,
ghosts.
so this is what has been happening. They have been visiting Katie because of the whole history that has been going over there,
Right.
and
Mm.
that's what I
Right.
thought. Like initially,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, ठीक है, चलता है. They're not at supper, so
Yeah, yeah.
suppers, dinners, what's the big deal? Katie is
Hmm.
there. She's spending time with them. She's spending time with Gat.
Yeah.
She's doing this whole what do you call it? Teenage experience with her
Mm.
cousins and
Yeah.
everything. But
Yeah.
uske baad, when that whole punch to the gut happened, then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is way more, way
Yeah.
deeper and way more.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can call it that, but an insidious explanation to what exactly has been going on
Correct.
in this
Yeah.
whole plot. And yeah, that made it
Yeah.
really creepy, but also like a genius twist uh,
Yeah.
for having brought it all together like that in the end. So
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
What about you,
What do you
Mira?
think?
Like after we knew like what the ending was and what had happened
Yeah.
to them,
Yeah.
I thought they were hallucinations for sure. And
Okay.
this is because, first of all, the way Lockhart writes about Katie coping with the medicines and how her
Yeah.
frame of mind is, wherein like everything seems surreal to her. Like even her mom coming
Yeah.
into her room, it's like something that's happening from a distance, right? So those
Yeah.
things
Hmm.
I recognize as her being in that really low state of mind. So that was my
Right.
Hmm.
main reason for thinking that she's just hallucinating all of them being there. And
Right.
secondly, I remember the scene wherein they leave the island. Do they like go to get ice cream or they all go somewhere,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And
Yeah,
yes,
but
yes.
then yeah.
that boat ride is, I remember it also struck me, Mirren being weak.
Yeah.
And but I just thought of it as, seasickness or whatever people have, right? Because
Yeah.
even I thought
Correct.
that, like, my idea of ghosts from whatever I've read and watched is like they're stuck in a particular place. So then I didn't think they were
Yeah.
ghosts because they could go to town. Like that's not something ghosts
Right.
typically do, right?
Correct. Correct.
And
Right.
third was
Right.
when in the end, like when she
Hmm.
has like when she's discovered that they're dead. And this is, I think, in one of the last few chapters wherein she feels like they're fading away. So that
Yeah.
I thought was her way of coming to terms with it. I
Accepting.
thought, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they are
Yeah.
no longer like a presence in her life. I thought like
Yeah.
she's
Hmm.
letting go of things. So those were the
Correct.
two reasons I thought they were a
Yeah.
hallucination. But now that the author is mentioned and everything we've discussed, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. Third time
Yeah.
This
we
fits
read
in, right?
it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh God,
No,
you're going for a third time.
one more reread.
Yeah.
That's what Mira said. Yeah. Yeah, that's what now. Like we've known about, like, not known. I don't know if you can call it known, but we've seen in movies and some such that ghosts have, like, they are hanging. They're in this world because they have something
Mm,
that they need to do, and
mm,
there's some sort of thread that's connecting
yeah.
them to. Oh God, I'm just getting goosebumps, all shining effect type.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's like there's some thread connecting them to the world of the living.
Yeah.
But when
yeah,
we talk about them fading away, it's like she got her memory of them back. So that's why they were
yeah.
fading away. The ghosts were fading away. So it was that sort of a reasoning
Right.
that I did
Closer.
in my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah, they faded away
Hmm.
because they are now there in her mind. Like what
Right.
happened over the past couple of years is now alive
Yeah.
in her mind.
Yeah.
That way.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reasoning.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, Sonal makes this point.
Yeah. Correct.
Because we'll get to
Exactly.
that point actually.
Yeah.
Actually, why not now? When we
Yeah, we
spoke
can talk
about
about the parents. Yeah.
favorites and least favorite characters,
Yeah.
so we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
Shruti, you want to go first?
You want me to rant, is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
like you promised a
Go
rant. You
on.
promised a rant.
Yeah, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're like,
Okay.
tell me
So,
more.
yeah. Right. Okay.
Please take
So,
your time.
yeah, gat. Okay. So my issue is not with like Gat's character. There are things that I find irritating about him. My main issue
Hmm.
with Gat's character is the way E. Lockhart has written him, because she mentions that he is South Asian, of South Asian descent. The
Right.
first thing that I didn't like is like it really, like this time it really felt like a token diversity ad. Like, oh, this book is too white, so we need to add one like brown character or two brown characters to like give it a little bit of diversity. For me it
Kind
just
of.
felt like a cheap, yeah, like a cheap diversity ad. That's why they made Gat brown. Which, okay, yes, there is like some aspect because you have to point out the racism of like the Sinclair family, and he's like an outsider that gives perspective on the white privilege that they have. Yes, he does have a role to play with his brownness, but
Hmm.
there was just no nuance to Gat as a South Asian character. Which brings me to a larger point, is that like when white people write like characters of color, like either if you don't do your research, it's just going to come off as superficial, especially as an Indian reading about like Gat, who is sold as an extremely political character. He is someone who wants to change the
Correct.
world. He is someone who believes very deeply about issues about the world. And the
Hmm.
only thing that you can think about India is that it's a poor country. Like that's it. That's the only
Yes.
nuance you're going to bring to this story, is that, oh, India is poor and America has privilege. Like, hello, if you're like a South Asian character, bring more to the table than just being about like, something that's as superficial as that. And that is
Yep.
what I don't like about Gat's character. I feel that for someone who is supposed to be like this, I want to change the world,
Hmm.
I come from a lesser privilege than you, like, rich white people. I probably, like, I have faced racism in this country, probably I have faced whatever, whatever, whatever. But then you're
Hmm.
also just like hanging out like another rich white person on that island, and you also
Hmm.
have so much more privilege than whoever. So like, you're just telling me that you want to change the world. Again, I feel like it's a thing of like telling
So
rather than
much.
showing. So it's like you're just telling me you want to change the world. You don't have that much depth to you as a character of someone who is supposed to want to change the world. And you're
Hmm.
also just a privileged prick who goes to this island and hangs out with your
Hmm.
white friends. and enjoys that
Hmm.
privilege. So, like, why should I believe in you? Basically, like,
Hmm.
that is my issue with Gat mainly.
I
Like,
I I have one some things to say about that, but the thing
yeah,
about books like this, about characters like this in a book written by a white author, is this
yeah,
exact same thing. It's the author's ignorance, not how the
yeah,
character is
correct,
written. So when
correct,
you're seeing about a brown person trying to fit in an island full of white people, so it's like
yeah,
he's doing what he's got to do to fit in, and
yeah,
Hmm.
not because he can't do those things. Like he
yeah,
can get off the island and he can uh, go to anything else, but this is
yeah,
now a part of his family. So he's going
correct,
to try to fit in as much as
yeah,
he can. And I
yeah,
agree about the privilege thing, because once he starts mingling with this crowd, it sort of it shows. Like
yeah,
he's getting, he's obviously he's people are being racist against him,
yeah.
but it also shows the stark difference. And whatever the shortcomings of that character, I feel like it's the author's fail.
It's the writing. She's
Writing,
written
it's the
him
writing.
badly.
Yeah,
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 she's
yeah, yeah.
written him
So
badly.
yeah, but if you look at it from like as an Indian reading about him, you can like pick and take places where you're like, okay, yes, I relate to this. Like I understand what he must be going through, because as
Yeah,
someone who, even if I have lived for like 2 months in a country majoritarily white, I
yeah,
have had a couple of experiences which show me how white people treat
100%,
POC.
100%.
So that is where I say that Gat was not like doing it out of, like, what do you call it, a complete acceptance and a complete fawning over the privilege that he is receiving hanging
Yeah,
out with white people. It's just that he has
yeah.
got to do that because he has no other choice.
Correct.
That
No, I agree.
so that's
I
my
agree
opinion.
with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Hmm.
I agree with the,
Hmm.
also it's like plot convenience, right? You can't really show him
Correct.
changing the world because you have to keep the plot on the island. Otherwise, like, what's the point of the story?
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand that. But I'm just saying that for, like, his whole character arc was about him wanting to do something about,
Hmm.
basically, again, it boils down to privilege. Him, like, wanting to
Yeah.
show that these people are a lot more privileged, and they're and the
Hmm.
whole thing is also about, like, like, why the hell are these aunts and this granddad, like, fighting so much over property when actually, like, the world is going to shit, kind of like.
Yes.
That was his
Yes.
whole
Agreed.
character.
Yeah.
That was his whole character. But I just felt there wasn't enough depth given to that character. There
That's true. Yeah,
wasn't
that's true.
enough nuance, especially because he's the only brown character in the
Correct.
film. I was going to say in the book, he's the only brown character. So, like, he needed more depth and more nuance
Correct.
and more
Correct.
than what she wrote for him. So I feel like he's a
Hmm.
badly written character. Yeah, like, I
Yeah.
led with that also, that he's a badly written character. I feel
Correct.
he's not a
Yeah.
bad character. But
He's a
he
badly written
annoyed
character
me.
because of, yeah.
Yeah, but he annoyed me because he's a badly written character
Yeah.
this time when I read it.
Yeah. And also the
Yeah.
fact that their deaths, not depths, their deaths
Yeah.
actually put him at that point. Like there's no
Yeah.
moving backward or forward for that character anymore. It's the same with Johnny and Mirren also. Like you
Yeah.
don't see a lot happening in their lines also, like their character graphs also. So I
Yeah,
Yeah.
think that that particular, since they all three of them are now dead, there's no like leeway for her to do anything with that, and that is something that she should have seen,
exactly. Yeah.
and she should have done something about it. And
Yeah.
Nikita
No,
says something over here which makes a really important point. Like that's the whole point. Like
Yeah. Exactly. He
we
could have,
wouldn't know.
like, honestly, she could have chosen an American ethnicity, like Native American or even Black, or,
Hmm.
like African American, because maybe that's something that she knows more about. She didn't do enough research about anything South Asian. Also, that his name is Gat. Like, I mean, Gat Patil. Like, that's his name. And then the other
Great.
guy's name is Ed. The other, like, his uncle's name is Ed. Like, she
Yeah.
didn't even use an Indian name or like a South Asian name,
Author
which I
spelling.
know that people there do. They do have like anglicized
Wasn't
names or
GAT short
whatever,
for something?
I think it was. I can't remember for the
but it
life of me
wasn't
what it was.
Indian. It was another. It
It
was like
wasn't Indian though.
it was like a white name. That
Yeah.
Gat was that was short.
And I feel like the reason why I liked GAT best of all is because of his strong opinions. I feel like if there's someone who is loud in the novel, loud in terms of their thoughts and what they're trying to do, what the the knowledge, the wisdom kind of what they're trying to impart, I feel like it's GAT.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
else just goes about like we're talking like it's their privilege, right? They don't need to think about the world at large. So
correct.
my main thing is that he thinks far beyond himself, right? And
Yeah,
that is the main reason I liked. And like Anne mentioned, that the fact that everything that comes across about him is very stereotypical, is very cliched. That is a
Hmm.
problem with the writing, not with
yeah,
Gat himself, right?
yeah, yeah,
Him
yeah.
Right.
talking
Exactly.
about him talking about India and highlighting one main thing bugged me too. Like I marked the shit out of that passage,
Yeah,
and I feel like that was the author's problem with not having done due research and brought
yeah,
out more concerning matters to show a
Hmm.
kind of to show kind of a contrast between where different parts of the world are at, right?
yeah,
And if he had to accurately create an impact, change the way people think, he had to clearly bring about the difference in wealth and stature that people abroad in many parts of the West have
Right.
in compared to the East, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there
right.
is one passage which I feel like will forever remain with me because it's something that I have thought of many times. Is he talks
Hmm.
about who gives people the right to own land, right? Everyone goes
Hmm,
about boasting and talking about like, oh, this property is mine, this is mine, that is mine. We all just
hmm,
come into the earth like without our own accord, right? We just born,
yeah,
we don't
Hmm.
possess anything here.
Hmm.
When we leave, we won't possess anything here. But still,
yeah,
it's funny how everyone makes that out to be the most important thing in assessing people, in judging how valuable someone is. So every time Harris went around, undermining him, talking about how he doesn't like that Gat is with KD, it was just like
Hmm.
it was a jab, and I felt like
yeah,
Gat took it very well. Like if it was anyone else, they would have tried to assert themselves more. And
hmm,
Hmm.
I feel like the reason I wouldn't say that he is privileged is because he's there out of a friendship, be also being connected to the family, and see there are many instances I remember in the book where he doesn't try to become a part of them. He always
yeah,
behaves
Correct.
as he is their guest, not like a part of the family, not as someone who lives there, owns anything, and has the right to do anything.
hmm,
I think there
Hmm.
was a scene where he had to borrow a book or something, and he's like, "Can I really do it? Like, is that okay?"
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So those things really stood out to me, and I know that he doesn't take that position lightly. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
why I
right,
liked him, character.
right. Okay, but like,
Yeah.
okay, coming to the part where like Gat is like also privileged, right? My main thing was that like Cadence also understood her like privilege, like through whatever happened in summer 15, like till they
Hmm.
decide to like burn down the house, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like through all that time, Cadence does understand like her privilege. She does understand where like her family is wrong, and she does understand those things about her family, and she's coming to terms with them. But I remember there is like I felt that there were many times where I can't remember now whether it's summer 15 or summer 17 or when this happens or whatever, but I just thought there were so many times that Gat gave KD so much flack for like I mean for being like privileged. Like okay, yeah, it's bad that she doesn't know who the help are, like she doesn't remember their names or whatever. But like my thing is like you are not some doodh ka dhula hua person who like is, coming from a really hard life or whatever. You also live wherever you live in New York City or Boston or wherever he lives. And like you also have a very privileged life. So like why are you giving so much flack to these people who agree with you? Like at least the liars, like or at
Hmm.
least Cadence, who agree with you
I see
that
what you
yes,
mean.
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
are privileged or whatever. And I got annoyed at that part, at those parts where he gave a lot
Yeah,
of
I see
flack
what you mean.
to KD. Like,
Yeah.
and that's where I felt like, okay, he doesn't realize that he himself is also a really privileged person. Like compared to, okay, yeah, he's less privileged than the Sinclair
Comparatively, yeah.
family,
Hmm.
but he also comes from a place of privilege, that he can go to this island firstly and spend his summers there, that he can attend a university, that he can do
Correct.
all those things that the liars are doing.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But then
Yeah,
again, it's the same thing with racism everywhere, right? Like,
correct,
if you go from here to America, that does not mean that you won't be prone to racism. It's
correct.
just because I go from here to America won't make me any less of a target for the white supremacists over there.
True, true.
So I think it's all comparative
Correct.
discussions
Yeah.
that we are having here,
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't know if it's how the author sees a
Yeah,
privileged Indian person
correct.
or if she intended the character to be like that. Because yeah,
Yeah,
I get what you mean. I totally understand which instance you were talking about also, because at
yeah,
that point also I was like, why the heck are you shouting at her? Because
yeah,
Hmm.
she is actually agreeing. She literally just said what you said. So
yeah,
why are you shouting at her? But then
correct.
again, I was like, okay, fine. There's this whole background and history to
Yeah,
racism and what happens with that. So that was what made me,
correct.
not hate him as a
Yeah,
character, because there are so many shades to understanding Gat as a person. Gat with
yeah,
Matthew Patil, as
yeah,
Ishita
yeah,
mentioned. Uh, yeah, so that was why he didn't make it to the least favorite characters to
yeah.
me personally.
Yeah, for me
Yeah.
also, I don't think I hated him. Like I didn't like
Hmm.
hate him, but yeah, I just, yeah, I didn't like the way he was
Like,
written. That was my main
It's the writing.
that was
Yeah.
my main thing against Gat. He
Yeah.
could have
Yeah.
been written a lot better.
Sure. Yeah. Are you okay? Happy birthday. Okay. Okay. So now we come to your least favorite characters.
Yeah, you guys can go off now.
Okay.
I went off a lot
Okay.
right
My
now.
least favorite character. I want to say there's a tie between Harris and her mom's name is Penny, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Between the both of them, but I will say that my least favorite character is Penny, because
Hmm.
Harris is an old white man, uh, so and he's not as involved in Katie's life as Penny is. But Penny,
Hmm.
on a regular basis, she is like, pull yourself together. It's all in your head. Do this. Don't, what do you say? She said something which, like, just
Don't ruin your future.
simply don't ruin your future. It's all in your hands.
Yeah.
Um, do it now. Pull yourself together now. Stop crying now. Like right now. And Katie is all like, okay, I've got to listen to my mother,
Yeah.
and she just like imagine the impact it has on a teenager who's been through all of that. Even if Penny was supposed to have been you know protecting, if you can call it protecting, Katie from
Yeah.
her own memory, is that the way to go about it? It's like she was plain cruel as a mother. If
Yeah.
right from the very beginning, it's very obvious that she has
Yeah.
absolutely no concern for her daughter's mental health, irrespective of how many times she says it in words that no other mother will do this. Exactly,
Yeah.
no other mother will put their child through all of this.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if you're talking about Penny and Harris, Penny is a bit more on my hate scale than Harris is, because
Yeah.
sometimes, more often than not, old white men, like,
Hmm.
you just, it's sad, but you just expect that अच्छा ठीक है, is an old white man, इससे
Correct.
expected था, but इससे नहीं expected था. So it
Yeah.
comes down to that point, like, even very creating a very toxic environment for Katie to recuperate in, forcing her to go where she doesn't want to go, forcing her to
Mm,
go with her father when she all she wants is to just stay at home. So that
Exactly.
is what makes Penny more despicable character, if you could call it, in my opinion.
Correct.
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
Mira, you? Who's your least favorite?
Oh, Penny for sure.
Yeah.
And there's this passage that I marked out, and it shows you the exact influence that these three daughters of Harris have had
Hmm.
on their children and what drove
Hmm.
them to do this, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, while Penny, because of the reasons that we're discussing, I didn't like her at all.
Yeah.
I feel
Hmm.
like the others, the aunts were also on a similar like line.
Yeah.
So it was
That's
my
true.
mother and her sisters were dependent on granddad and his money. They had the best educations, a thousand chances, a thousand connections, and still they'd ended up unable to support themselves. None of them
Yeah.
did anything useful in the world, nothing necessary, nothing brave. They were still little girls trying to get in good with daddy. He was their
Yeah.
bread and butter, their cream and honey too. So I feel
Yeah.
like Penny never fully grew into that role of nurturing KD, and
Hmm.
Correct.
everything she said had even more toxic repercussions on how KD like
Yeah.
grew out of that trauma, right?
Correct.
I
Yeah.
feel
Correct.
like every scene with her mother, I was just like, no, like I don't like this scene
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I feel strongly about psychology and mental health, and those
Yeah.
Hmm.
conversations are just so difficult to get through as a reader
Correct.
because I'm reading their interactions, and I'm like, you couldn't be thinking this in the right frame of mind. You have a daughter who's gone through all of this. You can
Yeah.
see that she's crying herself to sleep at night in bed, and the
Hmm.
way and things that you choose to focus on, that's just ridiculous. So I have
Yeah.
very strong reactions to these scenes with Penny in them. So no,
Yeah.
definitely don't like her.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to
Even
choose.
I was.
Yeah.
Parampara Pratishthan. Oh
Oh my
God.
God, yeah, she's like really Amitabh Bachchan from K3G vibes. Doesn't give a
Yes, yes.
shit about her daughter.
Exactly. मोहब्बतें, like,
वो खानदान
that's the
परंपरा
guy ना.
is
परंपरा
खानदान
प्रतिष्ठा
परंपरा is
अनुशासन.
K3G, no?
वो खानदान परंपरा. Yes. Yes, yes. Right.
Khandan. Anushasan is
खान
Mohabbatein.
परंपरा
There
प्रतिष्ठा
also he doesn't give a
अनुशासन.
shit about his daughter. Amitabh Bachchan
नहीं.
just plays characters where he doesn't give a shit about his sons and daughters.
This is perfect. Like, this is a perfect explanation of Harris Sinclair. Honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Uh,
Okay. Shruti, you were saying
oh
something.
my God. Yeah, no, so for me also it was exactly the same. I was so frustrated at those parts which where she's just like, pull yourself together now.
Yes.
Like, like stop crying. Like, you can. Like, I'm
Ultimatum.
just like, oh my God, seriously. And what I found even more frustrating is that she knows what her daughter has gone through. Like she knows the trauma, she
Exactly.
knows everything that Katie has been through in this whatever.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like, okay, yes, I understand as a parent it might be difficult for her also, but like you put your child at
First.
least a little bit. Yeah, like I mean, okay, maybe if you don't want to put your child first, but like at least don't drag her down or make her mental health worse by the way
Yeah.
you treat her. Like,
And more so, like even like the scenes prior to the ending, right?
yeah,
She is
Hmm.
still like all these uh, daughters of Harris are still trying to mold their children into being the best grandchild so that your
Yeah.
grandfather will like you best and give you like wealth and property and
Things.
money and
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
even she mentions like, oh, what's the point? You can just like move on from Gat, find someone else. It's just a
Yeah.
fling.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not
summer
something you
fling.
say.
Yeah.
Like, that's really sad.
She's a
But that
horrible mother.
actually, that is a very mom thing to say, I feel. Like, I can, that many moms say, like, when you're
That you're
16
gonna
years
ruin
old,
your future and education because like the context she says it in is like granddad doesn't like Gat, and if you continue to be in a relationship with him, you're not gonna get the
yeah.
property. You're not gonna get the heritage.
Yeah, but like, okay, so coming, they're shitty people. They're extremely shitty
Mm.
people. I agree with that. But like that point, I feel like has been a plot point used in every story, in many like stories of like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
date this guy because like, nahi to, like I will cut you
Hmm.
off from the
Yeah,
family or
yeah.
whatever. So like
Purana
that
wala,
actually
yeah.
didn't infuriate me so much because I was like, huh, this is like
No, that
expected.
added to my dislike
Yeah,
of Penny.
correct.
I'm like,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
you
yeah.
as a mother doing this, I'm
Yes.
like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Oh.
that, like, I mean, in any rich girl, poor boy kind of storyline, that always comes. I feel it's like been used to death of like, I will cut you off, you will not get money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Penny was a horrible, horrible mother. And
Horrid. Like there's
horrid.
no end to her.
All of them,
Like
all the three aunts were horrible
Yeah.
mothers.
they're like that. You start thinking ki one of these is going to have some sympathy or empathy
Yeah,
for KD, but no, you just it just blows up in your face. Like no
yeah,
pun intended, but it just
yeah,
blows up. Like
yeah.
yeah, coming to the next point because of this, we were talking about the parents, right? So
Hmm.
let's talk about how greed plays such a huge role in how these three sisters treat
Yeah,
Harris Sinclair because they are very they bow down to his every whims and fancies. Like
yeah,
they are very like maska marna bolte hai na. That's what they do
yeah,
throughout the book. Like right from the
Yeah.
very beginning, they are sort of conditioning their children into doing what grandfather likes. So
yeah.
into treating him well, so that they will get the property. So what do you think? Are there reasons for doing this, like to get in on their to get their hands on the property? Is it just plain wanting to do so? Is it plain white people entitlement? What do you think is their
Yeah.
motivation behind this?
It's just entitlement. It's just
Mm.
entitlement and greed, I feel.
Hmm.
Like it's just they feel that like and it's exactly that passage that Meera read, which is makes it
Yeah,
even more infuriating is that you had all the resources, you had
correct.
all the money, you had
Yeah,
all the education to actually do something with your life, but because
yes,
you know you have a trust fund and because you
Mm.
know that dad has this much money in his bank account, you just feel so entitled that you're like, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit here on my butt and I'm going to get dad's money. So I just feel it's just plain entitlement of like,
hmm.
this money is there. I know it's there. So why should I do anything with my life?
Work.
Why
Yeah,
should I work?
And what's absurd is that, like, from what they show us of the Sinclair family, all three of them could have comfortably lived and retired, right?
Yeah.
Yet they get
Yeah.
so bickering and they're just so on top of each other, trying to show who's better instead of
correct.
just thinking that they've not earned that money, first of all. Secondly,
Yeah.
if they're even getting it to like live
Hmm.
comfortably, then at least think
Hmm.
about sharing. Like,
Yeah.
what are you really kind
Correct.
of communicating through your actions?
Correct.
Yeah, it's
No,
just
and my
plain
other thing,
family politics when it comes to the whole thing. Like you see it on a
correct.
grander scale in countries, and here you're seeing it in the lives of these three sisters who are
Yeah.
micromanaging their kids in
Yeah.
order to get something that they are just born into. Like
Correct.
technically, they haven't done anything to earn it except for being born into the beautiful Sinclair family and all of that.
Exactly.
So it
So
just makes
it's
it. so frustrating to see that they are playing political games with the lives of their children. Even after
Yeah.
Katie has gone through so much,
Yeah.
Penny is still using her to get money from her father.
Yeah.
Sort of makes it even more sickening to know that, irrespective of what their children are going through, there are three children who are dead, and
Yeah.
all they can think of is this.
But in summer 17, the mind games they stopped, na? Or there also, I
I
can't
think
remember
the
now.
bickering was still there, if I remember correctly. The sisters, I think they meet up
No,
for
they became
lunch or
more
something.
lovey-dovey. They
Did
started
they?
hugging each other and all. Yeah. So
Pata
Katie
nahi.
also like
Maybe a
questioning
non-linear narrative. Yeah.
why are they so like lovey-dovey with each other? So I think after the
Okay.
accident they don't fight so much,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, or
But
maybe
before
it's
the
because,
accident,
yeah, because it was such a non-linear narrative, right? So
yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
went
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Correct,
all
correct.
confused, and I've read it only once. So I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
why, why? Just
I've read
Yeah.
it twice, but still same, Sonali.
No, so the only thing that Penny does, which is infuriating after the accident, is just telling Cadence to always be normal.
get
Just be
over it.
normal.
Yeah,
Get over it
yeah,
now. Be normal.
yeah.
You can, like whatever. That. But the
It's
mind games and
horrid.
the bickering stops after
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah. You're
after
right.
the
You're right.
kids die.
You're
That.
right. Yeah.
But the other thing, like coming to now Harris, I feel. So, like, there's one part where I remember, like, Harris is yelling at all of them, saying that none of you have earned this money anyway. Like, all, like, I've given you the best education and none of you have done anything about it.
Correct.
Like, why do you deserve this money? I'm going to, like, donate it to charity or whatever. And that
Hmm.
time, like, I remember reading, I was like, oh, wow, I like Harris. Like, he's right. He should put these
Oh,
like he should put these like girls in their place because like they should be financially
yeah.
independent and not
Yes,
depend on his money.
I
But
know what you're
then you
talking about.
realize he's the actual puppet
But
master. He's
Yeah.
like manipulating them, pitting them one like against
against
the
each other.
other, and like making them do these things for him. And I'm like, oh my god, this character is even worse. like
Yeah,
like seriously, because he really just like is making everyone dance to his tunes and like whatever
yeah.
he wants. So
Correct.
yeah, he's just like the master manipulator.
Yeah, but maybe that is a result of him having three daughters who are constantly eyeing his money and
Yeah,
constantly treating him well just because he has the money.
yeah,
Like, we know that can happen. We know
yeah,
there are, like, we don't know what would have happened if the whole tragedy hadn't taken place. Maybe they would
yeah,
have all died with their hands around each other's throats or something. Don't know, but
yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
that happens.
And
Yeah.
sorry. And to answer
Hmm.
your question, that happened in summer 15. The one where Gat and Katie go to the
This one,
pantry. This happened in
yes,
summer 15. This doesn't happen
15.
in summer 17. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's the non-linear narrative that is confusing.
That's messing with the brain, man. Like, I probably have to read this book like 4 5 more
Yeah.
times to actually understand ki which summer
Yeah.
had which
क्या हुआ?
event. हाँ, क्या कब क्या
Yeah.
हुआ था पता नहीं.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through a few of the comments
Yeah.
before
Wait,
we
before
move to the
that,
next
I just
one.
think since we're talking about the three sisters and Harris, just one thing. What
Hmm.
do you guys think
Hmm.
about the fairy tales? Because I loved them in the book.
Same.
The
Yeah.
different, like the way, like the three daughters and the king had three daughters, and
Hmm.
like showing them how, like, I love the one about the dragon. Like the king says, like, I can't remember, but like the dragon basically eats all the
Hmm.
three daughters. The dragon
That
eats
was
all
the
the three
best.
daughters. And then there was another one, like it ends with, so who actually killed the princesses? Was it the dragon or was it their father? And that
Yes,
like
that is
gave
very
me
poetic.
chills. That gave me chills when I read that.
Yes,
That one.
agree.
I love those fairy tales in between.
But you know what? I was so confused throughout the whole thing because at that point, it had not settled into something understandable. The plot line. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like very clear, and it was not confused also. So you're like, I was trying to stay on track with the present and not think so much about relating the fairy tale to what is
Mm,
happening in Teddy's life. So
Yeah.
I didn't give it that much importance. Like towards the end,
Yeah.
obviously थोड़ा बहुत तो connection बन जाता है कि you
Correct.
are कि अच्छा तो this is that three daughters, wealthy king.
Hmm.
Obviously that connection is made, but what
Yeah.
exactly happens? It's sort of it's very confusing for
Yeah.
like for someone who reads it for one time
Yeah.
like me.
Yeah.
So
This book
uh,
needs to, like, it needs a
to read.
reread. I feel
Yes.
like this book needs to three. Okay, Mira. This time you read, keeping in mind that they are ghosts.
Yes.
that's But I really like these variations because that kept
Hmm.
me thinking. I'm just like, wait, which one is the
Yeah.
right one? And like,
Yeah.
Correct.
especially the first time that I read it, we
Hmm.
don't know everything that's gonna happen in the end, right? So I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
Correct.
are the mothers like something happened to them?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very
Exactly.
properly thrilling book once you get into
Yeah.
it.
Keeps
It
you on
takes
your
some
toes.
time, but it
Yeah.
just keeps you on your toes. That's why I keep saying, keep at it. Okay,
Yeah.
don't give up. Don't give up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through some comments before we move on to the next point, right?
Mm.
I actually agree with Anne on this because it sort of at one point felt like it was getting a little too much.
Mm. Oh,
I'm
really?
not saying,
I
yeah,
loved it.
no,
I loved
see,
it too.
Yeah.
see, in again, it's the same thing. It's about for me personally. In hindsight, when she's talking about, it's about the exaggeration. It's not
Mm-mm.
about the metaphors. I love metaphors. Like
Mm.
it, it makes for very interesting reading to make that connection. Ki, acha, this is what the author was talking about. But the point about exaggeration, I literally said, I wrote down a point and I was like, "Kya hai ye bhai? What is this?" And it sort of got a little jarring to the towards the middle of the book because you just want to know ki what's going on, and when you keep using hyperbole for everything, it
Mm.
sort of uh, grates on the mind to a
Mm.
certain extent. But
Yeah.
once you get into the flow, it makes for good reading, thrilling reading, obviously. But yes,
Mm.
I agree about
I
the
agree
exaggeration.
too that it's an exaggeration. But the reason I liked it, I feel like when I was reading it, it gave me the perfect idea of how intense her thoughts and emotions were. Like for her
Yeah.
to be in that much pain or in that much agony,
Correct.
to start thinking of like blood dripping onto pages or things like that. That's a very vivid and strong image, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So when I read that, I was like, oh, her frame of mind, and this is the kind of difficulty she is going
correct.
through right now. So that's
Yeah.
why I liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not about this
Same.
particular event about the shotgun and shooting. There are other
Mm.
places where
Yeah, yeah.
she was
Yeah.
Snark and he was the ocean. What? Wait,
Yeah.
No, but I
she
love the
was
way she
Snark.
described all three of them, yeah.
She
Like,
was
someone
Snark.
was.
I'm
I,
actually
I
not.
love the way she described all of the, like, the other three
Oh,
liars.
oh, you know what? You know what a
Someone
good
was
theme song for
coffee.
this
Someone
book
was
would be?
coffee, and
Yes,
then someone was
Wait, I
like,
thought Gat was chocolate.
no, coffee. Someone was something in coffee. The other Mirin was,
yes.
I can't remember now. I honestly can't
Wait,
remember.
wait, wait, wait,
But
wait.
I liked that. It's there in that story
I don't
also,
know.
that in
Huh.
that end
Uh-huh.
wala
I
story
marked
also,
it.
it's there. The end
I've
wala
marked it.
story where she writes.
Oh,
Ha
you
ha.
found it.
Say,
Okay.
say,
Yeah, I
say,
found it. She is
say.
curiosity and rain.
Yeah. But like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, no, he is bo- he is bounce. What the heck is he is bounce, dude? He's a ball or what?
Means he's all choppy. Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
god.
very
So
like, he's like this.
okay,
Mira and I are
he
both like,
nice. He jazz hands.
yeah.
Okay, he is effort and snark. Okay, he is bounce. Fir bhi I can understand. What is he is effort and snark?
Means he
Okay,
puts in that effort and he's snarky if you
Yeah.
don't pay attention to it.
Yeah. And then someone was coffee.
Okay.
I just remember
He
that.
wait,
Gat was
next वही
coffee.
आ रहा है, वही आ रहा है. He is contemplation and enthusiasm, ambition and strong coffee.
Yeah.
What? Like, I mean, see, I
So
get it.
Rani,
I get what you're saying. No, no,
yeah,
I get the metaphor. I get the analogy why you're making it.
yeah.
But literally making that connection between him and coffee is racist.
Oh shit! I didn't think about it that way. I didn't think about it that way. I
He
just thought
is
it was
bound.
like
शिल्पा
he's like
शेट्टी है क्या?
strong. He's like strong, and maybe he smells like coffee. That's how I like
Okay, maybe
thought
she should
about
have
it.
said he is vodka. Like he should have been vodka. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Because of the bounce.
No, because he's strong.
Also because of the bounce.
Oh my God. So, Rani, if you don't like metaphors and you want to get really angry, I don't know if you read this book, but you should read This Is How You Lose the Time War. It is just full of metaphors.
No, no, that's what I'm saying. I love metaphors. I myself
Yeah.
in my writing, I use metaphors. I like them.
Yeah.
But when you say he is bounce and he is ambition and strong
Contemplation.
coffee, contemplation,
Contemplation.
it sort of rubbed me the wrong. You can see how worked up I'm getting about it, right? So, I mean, I get why you love it. It just made me really angry. I that was
Yeah.
where I wrote, "क्या है ये भाई? क्या है?
Yeah.
Why?"
Yeah,
But yes,
that's true.
I see what you mean. But that particular thing was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Priyadarshini has this to say. Learn from Tipper, but wasn't Tipper a relatively better character among the
Yeah,
lot?
that's what even I thought. And Tipper didn't really have that much
Huh, role
Yeah.
also in
involvement.
the
She
whole
was just like
story.
there and then she died. It was just like the only thing she contributed was those like whatever those figurines, the frog and the
Yeah,
rooster or something, which they
but I
smashed.
totally forgot about them. Like
What the
Abhi,
frog?
yeah, figurines. Like it completely escaped my mind. You mentioned it,
Those.
and I was like, oh yeah. Um. Okay. Okay. This is true.
Hmm.
Like Harris is nasty, but a dad always knows how his kids are.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess the three daughters were showing him a mirror, and they were like, "Okay, now I have to
Hmm.
handle these three. Okay, how would I handle myself? That's the way I will handle them."
Yeah, actually, I think
है ना?
that's what he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Hmm.
will do that. One more 24-hour readathon so that you can reread this book
Yes.
and get into the
Yeah.
you know details. Okay. Yes. This also. Where was it? Tipper was the glue. She died and mayhem happened. Like everything turned on its head once Tipper died.
I feel like that's sort of something that's happens behind the scenes and it's not really shown
Hmm.
to us readers. But I feel
Exactly.
like from the way the three daughters have these conversations, I feel like they've always been those kind of people, like always trying to one up each other and be
Hmm.
the favorite child.
Right.
I don't know.
But then again, I think ऐसे situations में it does something to you. Like when you know what's at stake,
Mm,
at least in a family like the Sinclairs I'm talking about, white, rich, entitled people, when they know, like the entitled people the sisters are, when they know what's at stake, what their dad has to offer, I think it sort of slowly begins the transformation into a much worse version of themselves until something as tragic as that happens to
mm,
make them look at the world in a different manner.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Should we go on to the next point? Next discussion point. Um,
Yeah,
okay, I think this we can discuss this and then we can move on to the next segment.
yeah.
Uh, okay, we've actually discussed everything that we thought we would discuss. You know that
That's what
we don't
I
have to.
know.
We don't have to like pick
That's
and pick apart
no,
everything.
you
It
can
was sort
do
of
the
very
symbolism
interconnected.
one. I'm interested in that symbolism one with
Anna.
King Lear and
Hmm.
Wuthering Heights. Because that
Yeah.
I haven't read both of them.
Same.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Sonali,
So
you can enlighten us. So
yes.
basically, Sonali found some parallels between We Were Liars and King Lear and Wuthering Heights, which
Yeah.
I haven't read those two, so like I have no idea. So Sonali,
Okay.
take it
So
away.
see, Wuthering Heights is a book, as you know, that I absolutely despise. Like, there's no end to that depth anywhere. So, but there's a parallel in that, in which, in Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff, the main character, is sort of seen as an outsider. Okay, and he is supposed to be this not so handsome and not someone who belongs to the family, and he is treated badly, and how that changes his character and everything. The parallel over here is Gat as Heathcliff, because
Oh,
Gat is also, yeah,
they speak
Gat is
about it
also someone.
in the book,
Yeah.
no? They
Yeah.
speak about it in
It's
the
there
book.
in the
Nah,
book. Yeah,
huh.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's. I think KD mentions it somewhere. KD and Gat have this ongoing conversation where Gat is saying that I'm the Heathcliff of this family.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
sort of very interesting to see, because I don't think Gat was as despicable of a character as Heathcliff was, but I can also see the parallels, because Heathcliff did what he had to do in order to survive. That does not excuse anything that he does, but the
Right.
way he built up an outer shell in order to on a facade in order
Yeah.
to live on his own terms, and the way he behaved with his near and dear ones, supposed near and dear ones as well, the decisions that he took and everything, it sort of is in fact a very poetic parallel between both of them, because you
Hmm.
see what's happening to Gat as well. He's come in as an outsider, and he is treated the way he is treated by Harris Sinclair, which is also the
Right.
case with Earnshaw, the dad, father Earnshaw in Wuthering Heights. And
Right.
to see that was really interesting. Like, I wouldn't agree completely, but I see where the author was going with that. Plus,
Right.
King Lear is the story of King Lear and his three daughters, who the youngest of which is banished, I think. Something of that sort happens, and that it's the same thing over here. The king is here, the three daughters are there, but then again, there's not much of a parallel apart from that, apart from it
Hmm.
being that and the first two daughters in King Lear wanting everything that their father has to offer. But here, all three are like that. So that's the
Right.
only difference between the two. I've read King Lear also in its original sonnet format, but yeah, it was interesting to see, but it's not completely the same. It's like you say,
Right.
it's just using references and parallels between the two. So it was nice, but if you would like to read more about what the references were, which is not that big of a deal actually, you can just read the, what do you call it, synopses of both of them.
Hmm.
Uh,
Right.
you can find it on, and then that will be enough actually, which you will
Okay.
understand why those symbolisms
The
are taken.
parallels.
Parallels,
Okay.
yeah. It was, yeah,
Cool.
whenever that happens everywhere, like when you see a reference to a book
Yeah.
that you have read,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it takes you off on a completely different path.
Correct. Yeah.
You are trying to understand what the author meant to say by this, or
Hmm.
was it really a plot of convenience that the
Right.
author decided to take Wuthering Heights and King Lear and mush it together and
Hmm.
do this? But that's not usually the case. You,
Right.
it's just a matter of what do you call it, influence or inspiration. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was really interesting to see this um, parallel between the three, all three books.
Right.
Any of you have seen the, what do you see, have you noticed the parallels between these, or have you seen any other reference to any other book in this? Because these two were the most evident, like
Nothing
they are
stood out
referenced
to
in these.
me. Hmm.
Okay,
Nothing really stood out to me
okay.
in this.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else to this discussion, spoiler filled discussion? If not, we can wrap this up and move on to another exciting segment of our live show.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay,
think we
let's
can
do
move
the,
on to
yeah,
the quiz unless there's any other comments. I don't know.
comments.
We
Yeah,
can go
that's what I was
through.
looking for.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe there are some points that they would want to discuss.
yeah, is
Hmm.
there anything that you would want to discuss? Um, yes, see this one. Carrie never read
Yeah.
Wuthering Heights. Gat narrates her the story. Definitely yes.
Yeah. So it
Yeah,
can't be her
exactly.
imagination because she won't
Imagination.
know it.
Mira, want to reread?
Yes.
Yes, I'm with you this time. Catherine Horns, yes. Yeah, technically, Wuthering Heights is not a sort of haunting kind of a story in the literal sense of the word, but I see what you're saying. Yeah. There was another point that I saw somewhere that during the scenes, I think it was summer 17, that they have things written on both their hands. They write things on
Yeah.
both their hands. So how is that possible? Okay, and that's another step in the path where you think that, where you start to realize that, oh, that's probably not humanly possible for everyone unless you are ambidextrous. That's not possible for you to write stuff on both your hands. But then again,
Yeah.
you can also think of it as someone else could have written it for you. That
Wait,
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
right on both hands, matlab?
They used to write, no, some
हाँ
like they
हाँ
used to write those like sentences.
हाँ हाँ.
Sentences.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. There was somewhere I was doing like trying to understand it, and I went looking, and it was this point where it was I don't remember this actually. I don't remember completely, but yeah, it was. They had sentences written on both their hands. They wrote it themselves,
Hmm.
apparently.
So it's like how if they're not
How?
lefty righty.
Unless you are
Yeah.
ambidextrous, that's not going to be
Yeah.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This realization was also a lot.
Yeah.
What all they wanted to do.
Exactly.
Okay,
That
okay.
part where Mirren talks about like she first says that she has that boyfriend who's going to this college and
Yeah.
whatever, and then like I was just like, oh
Oh no.
yeah, seriously.
Okay. Okay, cool. Then I think that brings us to the foreseeable end of the spoiler filled discussion for We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Half of it not happening because memories, fish memories over here. And we need rereads. But
Yeah.
I think we had a really insightful discussion about what the whole book was, and we
Yes.
actually went into the depths.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, shall we move on to the next segment? The
Yes.
I think the most
Yes.
So can I
exciting
win this
part,
giveaway, please?
Mira.
That's how excited I am. Come on, let's start.
Okay, so
Okay. Yeah.
yes, and we are excited for you to read it. So win, win, win.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, cool.
Who's doing the
So
timer?
now we are coming to the
I can do the timer.
either of you. Okay. We are coming to the. Let me explain the game first. So the this giveaway quiz we are calling two truths and a lie because
Woohoo!
We were
because
liars. That's why.
exactly. Guys, let us know if you can hear it because I don't want you guys to lag behind
Yeah.
in
Why is
answering the
there?
questions. Uh, because
There
this is
has
Hi.
been a
something that
lag.
we really want you to win. We really
Are
want
you
you
Yeah.
guys
guys with
to put
us?
your
Just
all.
Yeah.
Yes.
leave a comment.
Please let us know. Leave a comment.
Yes. We're starting the
Okay.
quiz. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So we will be playing two truths and a lie, in which there will be three statements, in which there are two truths and a lie, obviously.
Yeah.
So you guys have to guess what the lie is of the lot.
Yes.
And you will have 30 seconds to guess. Is it, are we doing 30 or are we doing like 15?
30. We always do 30, no? Hmm?
I
Sonali?
think,
We usually
yeah,
do 30.
there's a lag.
Yeah,
So
30.
I think
30.
because of the lag and all, I think 30 would be better.
Yeah.
30. So you'll have 30 seconds to guess what the lie is.
Yes.
Okay? We have seven such truths and lies. So we are going to be putting them up one by one. Okay? Are you guys ready? Ready for the first one. Okay. Hold on.
Jyotsna's
Creating
here.
them.
Hi, Joey.
Hi.
Hi, Joey. Okay. Okay, ready? How many times will I say ready? Okay.
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 Okay, wait, wait, wait,
Okay. Okay.
wait, wait.
Cool.
Let me get timer. Timer.
Keep the timer ready
Okay,
and
yeah,
then
I'm ready.
I'll.
I'm ready.
Okay. One,
Okay.
two, three. Okay. The first statement
Yeah.
is the longest book in the world is about 22,000 pages long. The second statement is there are more than 129 million books in existence. And the third statement is the longest sentence printed contains 556 words.
Fun.
Now you've got to tell us
Which is
which is the
the
lie.
lie? Choose the
Lie.
which statement you think is false. That is what you have to choose. Okay. All right. And your time, you have 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Starts. Go for it, people. Wait. Okay.
And three, two, one, done. Time's up.
Time's up.
Wait, I'm going.
No, I just entered. Yeah.
Yeah, you wrote time's up?
Yeah,
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 okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sonali, you wrote? Okay,
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Okay. So now
Hmm.
for the second set.
You'll have to type 1, 2, and 3 there, huh, Sonali? Because
Karke.
I. Yeah, okay, huh.
Okay.
Okay.
First statement,
Jane
Jane
Austen.
Austen
Yeah.
started writing when she was 10 years old. Second, J.R.R. Tolkien worked on the Oxford Dictionary before writing LOTR, Lord of the Rings. And third is Ernest Hemingway was a professional bullfighter. Now guess the
Which is the
lie.
lie?
And your time starts.
3, 2, 1, go. You have to tell what is the lie, Shaurya. There are
Yeah,
3 facts. 2 are true, 1 is a lie. Choose the lie.
it's very interesting to see the answers actually.
Yeah. And your time stops. Time's up.
Time's up. Okay. Now
Okay.
let's move on to the next one. The next one. Yes, I get it. The next one is we were a liars related question, and the
Yeah.
thing about this is that this will give you, if you guess this one right, this will give you an advantage over those who have not read it, because this will give you 2 points. Any Viva Liars related question, it will give you 2 points. So make sure you think and then answer. Okay, you have 30 seconds to think.
Yeah.
Ready? Yep. First, Harris Sinclair was racist. Second, Taft believes that Cuddledown was haunted. Third, Cadence's dad took her to Australia in summer 16. Now, guess the lie, and your time starts in three,
Now.
two,
Two.
one.
One.
Start. Oh, wait.
And three, two, one. Time's up.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah, God. Okay. Okay, so now on to the next one, which is a general question.
For the people who haven't read it yet, there are normal questions also. The
Ready?
first two were not related to the book.
हो जा भाई
And you
ready.
can still take a guess.
Yeah, you can still take a guess. Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Show bhai. First,
Hmm.
a bibliophobia is the dislike of books. Second, the average reader reads around 200 words per minute. And the third is The Castle of Otranto is said to be the first Gothic novel ever. And
And your time
your time starts
starts. Three, two, one, go.
now. People who haven't read it yet, get the general questions right, and you might have a
Hmm.
chance to win.
Correct.
One is the lie.
And stop. Time's up.
Time's up, people. ये एंटर होने को इतना टाइम लगा रहा है. Okay.
So good now people got their answers in.
हाँ हाँ वही है. It's like zoning out for a second over there. Okay. So
Yeah.
now on to the next one, which is again Viva Lias related, and this carries
Two
2 points
points.
when compared to the other ones. Okay. Ready? First, Mirren is the third oldest grandchild. Second, the accident happens during summer 15. Third, Granny Tipper died of old age. And your time starts
Now.
in three. Okay. हो गया.
Oh, sorry.
नहीं नहीं हो गया हो गया.
Okay, no, no, no. Okay, it starts now.
This book is
Okay, okay,
messing us
okay.
up. Okay. Um.
Five, four, three, two, one, stop.
Okay. So we're done with 5 questions, and we have two
Yes,
remaining, which
two
I'm
more.
really interested to see the answers. Okay, interested to see the answers too. These are general questions. It's not related to We Were Liars, so you can give it a go. Okay, let's do it. Oh, nice. 1 second, just give me a second.
Yes, Shaurya. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom is on the line. So it's a big one.
Just give me a minute now.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so since we have this parallel with King Lear, this is a Shakespeare related question. So, first, Shakespeare was an actor in addition to being a writer and a playwright. Second, he had an assistant called Thomas Hazard, who later went on to become a playwright himself. And third, he was part of a theatre troupe that performed at a place called the theatre. And your time starts. Shruti,
I'm waiting for you now.
coordinate
I'm not
your
saying
time.
anything.
In three, two, one, now.
Yeah. हो गया.
Awkward silence. Don't worry,
Yeah.
I'm not a robot.
And Shaurya says the discussion for Six of Crows is going to be 4 hours long. I think it is.
Heavily.
Yeah. Okay. Three, two, one. Time's up.
That's it. Time
Time's
is
up.
up.
ए टाइप करो.
Okay.
हाँ टाइप किया.
And
हाँ
the,
हाँ.
हाँ कर रही. अरे वो थोड़ा टाइम लगता है वो दिखने
हाँ.
में.
That's all.
Okay. Now on to the last question. It is the last, right? Yeah. Now on to the last question,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is uh, in keeping with the theme or the parallels that we've noticed. It's related to Wuthering Heights. So um, again, hey, thank you. Yep. Ready?
Yeah.
The first statement is that Wuthering Heights was a self published novel. Second, Heathcliff's character from Wuthering Heights was based on Emily Bronte's brother, Branwell. And third, it was adapted once on screen in 1940 with Laurence Olivier playing Heathcliff. And your time starts in three, two, one, now. Hated the book. I'm with you, Joy. Totally with you. Like I despise it with everything I have.
Shaurya's reaction. The eyes and the lips.
Ayyo.
I find that so funny. That
Yes.
okay, and time's up.
Time is up. It's a well-known fact, yeah. At least I think so. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the giveaway quiz. Um, to which two of you will win
Six of
both the books
Crows
in the Six of Crows duology.
Duology.
and Crooked Kingdom. Yay!
I wish I was participating in this quiz, yeah.
I
Right.
But
know.
but I already have the books, so
Same. My books are not with me, you know. That's the
I know.
tragedy. My
Yes,
books
yes,
are
we
in
are getting to it,
storage
Shaurya.
somewhere.
Hmm.
My books are in storage somewhere.
They'll come to
So
you.
I'm actually
We have
thinking,
got time.
if I don't get them in time, I'm actually thinking this time when I'm rereading, I'm going to listen to the audiobooks because I haven't.
Is it a
And
full
I
cast
saw
one?
it's a full cast. Yes, it's a full cast
Oh,
audiobook. Yeah. So each chapter is narrated by like different characters, right? So each character has so if it's a cast
I get
chapter,
it.
it's
Yeah.
narrated by a different actor. When it's Inej, it's a different actress.
You know what I would love
Yeah.
is for the Shadow and Bone actors to
I
actually do an
know.
audiobook.
That I think they'll do. They'll do a new
They
version of the
should.
audiobook. I'm
They
pretty
should.
sure they'll do. Dude, Ben Barnes narrating as the Darkling would be so good.
Oh,
His voice is so good. Like seriously.
Mira, please read it.
Saurya's right. It is going to be a 4 hour discussion. Just
Minimum.
me and Sonali right now can talk for 4 hours. Just now. About Six of
We
Crows.
don't even need incentive for it. We are like, okay, Shruti, go. And we can
Yeah.
start. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So should
Oh,
we
and
tell them
actually,
the answer?
we can wait. We can make that announcement. The Six of Crows duology live show is going to be on my channel next month.
Yes. It will be on Shruti
So
channel.
yeah,
So
we will announce the date
in a bit.
soon, in a bit. Yeah, because we also want to give you guys some time since it's two books and
Hmm.
maybe some of you haven't read Shadow and Bone. And
Mm.
You want to read
yeah,
it.
another question which I know a lot of you might have.
Hmm.
You don't have to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy before you read Six of Crows. It's not a necessity because they are two separate stories. But to understand the world, to understand the Grishaverse better, it is
Hmm.
recommended to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy first and then read Six of Crows. But
Correct.
let's just say you don't have the time, you don't want to read Shadow and Bone at all. You can still just read Six of Crows and follow
Look,
up
yeah.
on like the wiki of Wikipedia or whatever
Correct.
of Shadow and Bone.
Correct.
So I hope that clears up some questions because everyone always asks me, should we read Shadow and Bone before reading Six of Crows? Do we have to read Shadow and Bone? So
You
yeah,
don't have to
I
read it,
hope.
but it would be better if you read it, but you can
Yeah,
skip it.
correct.
Because Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, irrespective of anything else, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are the best written books in the
In the
whole of the
Grishaverse.
Grishaverse.
Yeah,
And yeah, technically you don't have to read Shadow and Bone, but
Different characters, no?
completely. So some
um,
character.
yeah, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Bro, I can't wait for the spoiler-filled
Yeah.
section of Six of Crows live show, Six
Yeah.
of Crows and Cricket Kingdom live show, because we
Yeah.
are going to be so loose-lipped during that.
Yes, exactly. No, but we have to be careful and not saying things about like King of Scars and Rule of Wolves because
Oh
that
Hey,
comes
God!
listen,
after.
both of you practice, okay? Make
Yeah.
sure you're
Otherwise, we'll
ready as
just be giving spoilers
You know what?
galore.
Imagine that happened. Oh no, that did
Oh,
not
yeah.
happen. Yeah, we need practice.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
like in our excitement. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I mean, we will give you some time for this and we will have the live show a bit later because yeah, there is Shadow and Bone which you can
correct.
read and then there are two books. So that's why
Hmm.
we will give you some time.
Yep.
Okay, and now
Okay.
for the answers. Okay.
Yes.
Will you
Please, you
you'll
want
put the
to
first one back
wait?
on this?
Hold on. I did a thing which was very stupid. Oh, I didn't remove that also, huh? All this time. Very nice.
Which?
The one that was just okay.
Okay.
This one. Was it this one?
No, the
It
first one was
wasn't.
the longest book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, in this one, the lie is number 3. The longest sentence actually contains something like 800 and something words, and it is there in Les Miserables. Apparently, Les Miserables contains the longest sentence, which is some 820 something words. So The Lie is third. And the longest book, which is 22,000 pages, is actually a Tamil retelling of the Mahabharata, is the longest
Whoa,
book. So it's like a
nice.
Tamil retelling version of the Mahabharata is the
Mm,
longest book, which has 22,000 pages.
nice.
So the answer is number three.
Number three. Those of you who
Yeah.
got it right, you can celebrate.
Yes.
Okay, now on to the next question. Okay,
Yeah.
wait. I'm just going to. I think many got this correctly.
Hmm. They know they're Jane Austen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so here the lie was number one. Jane Austen
Hmm.
started writing when she was 12 years old, not 10 years old. So, yeah, answer was number one in this one.
Okay. Now we are going to the.
Yeah.
This I've already added. No, what am I doing? Okay. Now on to the book specific question. One of the book specific questions.
Yeah. In this one, it was number three again. Cadence's dad took her to Europe, not to Australia. I think a lot of you got this right, at least who had read the book. So, number three is the
Yes.
lie in this one.
Okay. Next is another general question that we had, which is
Yeah. In this one, number one is the lie. A
Yeah.
bibliophobia is not a thing, I think.
No,
Correct?
a bibliophobia is the fear of running out of reading material.
hmm,
Oh, running
yeah.
out of books to read. Wow, that is a
That's
true
a
fear.
genuine fear, man.
That's a true fear.
It
I
is.
am a bibliophobic then.
Yes.
So, number one
What
is the lie.
do you have any phobias? Yes.
A
Of course.
bibliophobia.
You're a biblio. Okay. Next is another book related question. I mean, we were liars related question.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is number three, right? Is the yeah, number three is the lie. Granny Tipper died. I can't remember how she died, but huh, yeah, she didn't die of old age. So number three is the lie.
Yeah. One second, na?
Yeah.
Because I did this thing where
Hmm.
I did a thing.
Are you guys still there? Nobody's like typing anything in the comments.
Hmm.
I think there's a lag or
So
something.
I don't know if there's a lag or you guys just left.
We're telling you the answers. Please come back.
Exactly. We're telling you the answers.
It's like that part after an exam where the teacher discusses the answer and some
Yeah.
students are like, fuck it, I don't want to listen anymore. I know I'm not going to score
Exactly.
well.
That's
Yeah,
what.
but in this case, the students were the ones who asked for the
Yeah.
answers.
Students asked for the answers.
That's why
That's
we're giving
what.
them.
People are tallying the answers. Yeah.
That was it.
And
Okay.
next is the
This
Shakespeare one, no?
question I had really fun putting together. Uh, Again,
Yes.
the answer to this is two, and there's a little thing that I want to tell you, because for those of you who have read Matt Haig, you will know who Thomas Hazard is. He Tom Hazard is the protagonist of How to Stop Time, and he was not Shakespeare's assistant, and he did not become a playwright. So that's the lie.
That's so cool. Someone said
Shakespeare was
something
an
about
actor.
stopping time.
Yeah. I think Shaurya only.
Someone said
Really?
something about stopping time in the comments.
Really?
And he's
I
like,
didn't
if you
see
get
that.
what I mean, if you get what I mean. And
It
I was
was
like,
Then
Shaurya.
I
you
don't
got it.
understand.
You got
If
it.
you know, you know.
Amazing. I love that you got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because Shakespeare started off as an actor, and he was, in addition to that, he was also a also named. He was the writer and playwright. And he was part of a theater troupe that performed at a place called the Theatre, which was later torn down, and they
The Globe.
made they turned it into something called the Globe in a different place across the somewhere. So that's
I think a lot of
the
people guess
trivia.
three because I think they know about the Globe, but nobody knows about the theater.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, a lot of
possibly.
people guessed three for this one.
Hmm. Okay,
And the last one was about Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights, which okay. This is very tricky actually. I was very sneaky with this one because let me tell you. First one is completely true. A lot of publishers they rejected it, and it was self-published. They paid a princely sum of £50. Emily Bronte, and I think it was the other sister, Anne Bronte. I think they uh, publish it as under aliases, pseudonyms. The second one is also true because Branwell used to live with the Bronte sisters, and he was also addicted. He had an addiction problem and all of that. So in his sort of rages and all of that, that's what the Heathcliff is based on. And then the
Hmm.
third one is the lie. I'll tell you why. Because it was adapted once, I said, on screen in 1940. It was not adapted once, it was
Oh.
adapted multiple times, and it was adapted in 1939 with Laurence Olivier playing Heathcliff. So that's the lie. It's a very sneaky one. It's a
Oh.
difficult one to get, but yeah, three is the lie in this. And
Oh.
I was very intrigued to see a lot of them got this one.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there you have it.
Nice.
The answers. Someone was asking for the answer to the last one. So the answer is three over here.
Kunal Thakkar is saying a lot of people guessed three because I answered three first with confidence and people followed.
Highly possible. Okay. So there you have it. The answers. And apparently there was also a 1966 Hindi movie, which was based
Based
on
on
Wuthering
Wuthering
Heights,
Heights.
which was called Dil Diya Dard Liya. Yeah,
Hmm.
Dil Diya Dard Liya. And a Japanese film also, which came in the later years. So
Okay.
yeah, that's today's trivia.
Yes. You learn something new every day.
Every day. I wonder what we're going to learn in the Six of Crows live show. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We will
Cool.
get back with the winners in a few days, as
Yeah.
always. Please be
Yes.
patient. And we will announce them on our community tabs, on our Instagram stories, and all
Yeah.
of that. So give us a little time to tally the answers, and then we'll get
Yes.
back to you. And then two winners will get
Yeah.
Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which are also the Bookbound Club picks for the
Correct.
next Bookbound live show, which will happen on Shruti's channel.
Yes. And we'll
Okay, it
announce
was
the dates for that soon as well. Just give
yes
us some time to
to
plan it
tally
out.
everything. Yeah, plan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
so excited for everyone to read Six of Crows and Crooked
Yes.
Kingdom. Like,
Yes. I have been talking about this
oh,
book series for like 1.5 years on my
I
channel.
totally know. Like, I totally. Someone actually said also, your channel
What?
is where the hype started for Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Okay.
Yeah. So
So
I have
yeah.
been talking about this for very long. So now finally you
Hmm.
guys have some incentive to actually read it if you haven't
Yeah.
yet. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So
Yes.
anything you want to wrap it up with? You want to say any parting thoughts about the book?
No,
About
just
I'm all
that
talked out.
yeah.
you want?
She's all
I'm all
talked out.
talked out.
Okay. Yeah, we did have a very
Yeah.
in-depth discussion then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Cool.
I think that's it for today. We had a great discussion. Thanks to everyone for joining in and
Yes.
Yes.
for taking such an
Yes.
active part in the
Yeah.
discussion.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think we're going to
Thanks,
wrap it
thanks
up
to all
now.
the birthday people for joining in
Yes,
also, for
for taking
giving
the
us a
time
little
out,
part of your birthday.
and a very happy birthday once again to
Yes, happy
both of you.
birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday
Happy
once
birthday.
again. Chalo, chalo, chalo. Okay,
Yes,
then we're going to
cool.
do a very undramatic exit on the melodramatic bookworm. We'll see you on the other side. We'll see you part of the fandom on Fandom Newbies channel.
Nice, nice.
Thank you very much and good
Bye,
night,
guys.
everybody.
Have a
Have
great
a
Sunday.
great week. Yeah, bye bye. Bye.
Bye. Eh, she didn't end it. Sonali, come back.
She left with
She left, but she didn't
Because I'm an
end it.
idiot.